Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Evolution Podcast, where we meet with owners of coaching and training small and medium-sized businesses to discuss evolving their business and client impact in the era of AI. Today, we have Tina Collins with us. Tina has spent over 2 decades as a leadership and organizational behavior coach, working with senior decision makers across military, municipalities, corporate organizations, and others. And she's now the CEO of Rethinkery. Tina, thank you so much for being here. And please tell us more about your path to starting Rethinkery and the unique value that Rethinkery brings to its clients.
Hi, Ethan. Thank you very much for having me on today. So the path to Rethinkery was interesting. I spent over 2 decades working in consulting and coaching as an independent, getting tossed around from organization to organization around the world, and I absolutely loved it. And then, of course, the pandemic happened. And
Unfortunately.
in that, yeah, in that time, things like the whole world got quiet, and that quietness gave me a minute to really dig into what I was doing, what I loved about what I was doing, and how potentially I wanted to move forward. And one of the things that became really obvious to me is how lonely I was. Prior to the pandemic, I was working hard and doing a lot. And when you keep yourself at a pretty steady, busy pace, you don't really give yourself that reflection opportunity. And so the pandemic allowed me to really slow down, and it slowed the whole world down, which really I think was the gift for me, that I didn't feel this need to keep up with anyone. And so in that time, I realized, yeah, I was really lonely, and how was I going to fix it? And so I started inviting other people to come with me on assignment, other coaches, other consultants, other strategists, and I was having the time of my life. And I realized that that was the model that I wanted to adopt, was a collaborative, cooperative, co-creative space where we can bring different perspectives to serve our clients, and the clients benefit, but so do we, because we get to create this really cool experience together. And of course, then the next step was like, well, I don't want people working for Tina Collins, because that just feels a little obnoxious to me. And so I went on a deep dive of coming up with names. And I'm a wordsmith. I love words. I love like everything about them, the etymology. And um, ERY is the suffix of where to, or whereof. And so, like, when you think brewery, brewery is like where you brew. And so from there, I thought thinkery, because this is where we rethink what's possible with our clients. And yeah, so that's how I landed on rethinkery.
No, it's fantastic. And just to provide like a bit more context, like I know that you're really passionate about words, and I know that what goes into that is framing, how you use your words, communications, which is why you had a career in strategic communications, and that's what you help leaders with. Could you just articulate a little bit more to us about how you help leaders rather rethink the way that they approach their leadership style?
Well, there's quite a few ways that we tackle this, but we first start with really getting to know ourselves. And the reason for that is that we can only be in relationship with others to the depth of which we are in relationship with ourselves. And so the more we understand ourselves, how we show up, not just based on what we think we show up, but like truly how we're showing up, understanding our triggers, understanding when we get stressed, how we get into stress, how we get out of stress, like the entire, like what we value, what's the motivational driver behind us, what our strengths are, like what we bring to the table naturally, and what takes a little bit more energy. All of these things really help us get to know who we are as leaders. And then from there, we're able to then leverage all of that information with our team so that we do more, and it's just more fun.
Gotcha. No, no, that's super helpful context, and I guess that brings us right into our episode today, which is going to be rethinking the business of coaching. And I think the reason for that is not only are you helping and coaching people into rethinking the way that they go about running their businesses, but you're also rethinking the way that the coaching businesses run itself. And I think my understanding is that not only have you spent decades building out your coaching business and being a high performing coach and helping leaders perform highly, but now you're realizing that the highest performing coaches are lacking kind of the infrastructure to be able to start their own coaching practices and be the best version of themselves and coaches that they can be. So look forward to highlighting kind of the new business approach that you've been taking there. And I guess with the first question on the line of that is, what do you think are the main things that separate people that are great coaches from people that run successful coaching businesses?
Ooh, that's a meaty question.
I know.
Um,
Maybe we can start with like the highest priority differences between great coaching and then um, maybe the most integral parts of the business that are easy to overlook.
I think great coaching requires education. I know that's not going to be a popular idea because there's a lot of coaches who really believe that all they have to do is be a couple steps ahead of their clients. And that's absolutely not what coaching is. That's consulting, mentorship, advisory. There is definitely space for that,
Hmm.
but being clear about what the difference between coaching and the rest is, I think, is not only useful for the client, but it's also really helpful for the industry. And
Hmm.
so when I think about the best coaches that I know, what sets them apart is their practice. They are very diligent in making sure that what they're providing is excellent coaching and not versions of being a mentor. I mean, the moment you start telling somebody how to do something, that's your indicator that you are no longer coaching.
Mm.
You're a consultant. And it's not to say that there's no value in that, because there is. I spent decades doing it. It's just not coaching. That's it's just not coaching.
Right. So the line there being coaching is when you bring it out from within them by diving
That's
deeper
right.
on who they are and who they have the potential to be. And it's more about unlocking those barriers that they have internally so that they can start externally
Ex-
providing change or delivering on that potential that they
that's
have.
exact yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, coaching has this fundamental belief that like the answers are inside of you. We just need to bring those out.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens through really great, curious questions, clarity questions. There's a variety of tools and techniques, but more than anything else, I think amazing coaches have an incredible ability to listen and sit with what is happening, the energy that's happening in the room,
Yeah.
because we are noticing what most people don't.
Yeah. No.
And then
So
also this, I mean, really great coaches also, the ones that I know have this beautiful ability to reflect what they're seeing in a
mm,
way that is transformational, that helps their clients sort of skip through some of the gnarly stuff
mhm.
of just being in the unknown. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Navigating the unknown is certainly the most difficult thing. And I think like in my career in consulting, like a little bit of overlap there, right, with helping with the unknown, but it seems like two different approaches to going about it. Consultants say, this is how to get through the unknown, and coaches say, okay, how would you navigate it? How are you equipped to navigate it? Where aren't you equipped? How can we like work together to, help you realize the way to navigate this rather than just providing and building out a path in front of you.
Yeah, and based on your natural gifts, like what comes
Mm-hmm.
naturally to you? What can we leverage inside of you that's comes naturally? We spend so much time being socialized into being versions of ourselves that suit society, our work, our families, and this like often is an abandonment of our own gifts. And so we want to bring people back into themselves because you do have the answers. You do. We you might need a little bit of a nudge, or you might need a, hey, you're not showing up the way you think you show up. Um, these little nuances, but yeah, there is a fundamental difference between coaching and consulting and mentorship and advisory and all of those things. And they're all valuable. They're just very different.
Gotcha. So we know what makes a coach good. And now I guess I'm curious, like one thing that you said to me during our call last week was that during the business building phase of a coaching business, 80% of a person's day is spent on things that are unrelated to the coaching side, whether it's promotion, networking, etc. Curious if you could walk us through a little bit of what makes up that 80% of things that coaches in the industry are that are trying to break in are struggling with.
Yeah, I think it's exactly what you said. I think, especially at the beginning when you're building your business and you're trying to get clients or you're working towards getting clients, you spend so much of your time networking, either online or in person. You spend so much time crafting, intellectual property, thought, leadership, really just trying to position yourself as a unique coach. This is my unique offering. Here's why you should hire me. And then also just all the administrative stuff, the marketing, the money aspects, the technology. There's just so much back end to
Mm-hmm.
building a business. And a lot of the coaches that I meet, they attend a coaching school and then they finish it and they said, well, I don't know how to build a business. Like, I don't know how to do this part.
Mm-hmm.
And it's counterintuitive because I think there's a lot of people who make it look really easy, and it's not. It's like a squiggly line. Like the progress is not linear at all.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, especially when you're trying to build your frameworks and build your product and brand around the customers that you're still in the process of acquiring and understanding. It's like you want to solidify on frameworks that you're going to use and translate, but it has to resonate before you can solidify it. But at the same time, you need to be selling it before you have so it's I'm sure like consistent back and forth. And I guess in the era of AI, it begs the question certainly if you were to like reflect back on your 20 years of building your business, about 20 years, I think now, like almost, of building your business. If you had AI at the first, 5 year phase, how would you have used it or what are maybe like the key tasks you would have pointed it at in order to do those more effectively? And maybe a little bit on how are you
Mm.
helping your associates that are joining the program do that?
I think, like, if I were to rewind time and bring AI with me, what I would have done um, is have it record our sessions. The the note taking over my 27 years now has been extensive. The reporting is brutal. That this is the part of consulting that I don't miss. The pages and pages of reports that I have a lot of confidence that never got read. Um, and so, but it has to be done. It was part of the contract.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would provide, I would record the sessions. My clients love that I can provide them a summary of our conversation and next steps. And based on the next steps, like what we agreed to in the session, they get to decide what to do with those tasks.
Yep.
And I love that. I mean, it's not everybody. I mean, some clients prefer not to be recorded, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Um, but it's a great tool. And it's available. And so I mean, if anything, that's what I would have had like 27 years ago, when I was just
Yeah.
carving in stone.
Yeah, I'd imagine for the reports immediately after, as well as the next steps, super impactful. How about just like the fact of taking all of the transcripts from meetings and being able to say, okay, I've had 30 meetings over the last 2 weeks. Sure, I've got this report and have sent out these next steps, but there's so much potential to craft your intellectual property around the learnings that are
Oh
coming out
yeah.
of all of those meetings. And so I think that's where like the real like hitter is. Like sure there's the deliverables that are impactful, but in terms of building the product and brand around a deeper understanding of the client that you're actually coaching or the various clients that you're coaching, I think that's where you're able to like really hit it home.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, you can take those transcripts and sort of scrub it for any kind of personal information and turn those transcripts into um, lessons learned for marketing purposes. You could
Yeah.
also, uh, I have been gifted, strategic is my top strength. So I've been gifted with a high level pattern recognition. So I see patterns in what looks like chaos. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't naturally have that gift, you could actually give a robot the transcripts and ask the robot, what underlying themes and patterns are you recognizing? And that's where the juice is. Like the behavior under the pattern, that's where the real transformation happens. And so if you don't have a naturally working pattern recognition system, I would definitely leverage AI for that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think that maybe not quite to your caliber, but I am able to like realize the trends. Like we're doing these podcasts and the conversations I have, I'm seeing the needle that's or the thread that is going through the conversations that I've had. But certainly, what's been helping me really dial in on the multiple threads because there's not just one is the ability to take transcripts and to collaborate with AI to say, hey, I've been kind of noticing this, like what seems to be resonating across these calls, and it's insanely helpful. I guess looking a little bit more onto the associate model that Rethinkery is working on right now, where you're essentially trying to help set up the infrastructure for people that are coming into coaching who, like you said, lack the experience and don't have the education on how to build a business, but don't necessarily want to go just work for a bigger company. You told me that you've got an associate in out of LA who's already been crediting Rethinkery's infrastructure for her current business success, which is fantastic. Curious what she has said or what you think has been working best in terms of delivering and executing on this unique associate model that you've been constructing.
Well, there's there are a lot of businesses who suck really great coaches into their system and provide them with clients and the whole nine yards, but they pay an abysmal rate.
Mm,
And I don't like that. I don't
yeah,
like that at all. So what we're working on, and it's still in the progress.
yeah,
I'm hoping that we're going to be ready in the next 30 days, believe it or not, is a framework where coaches will come in and we will give them the infrastructure, all of the business back end that they need, so that all they have to do is focus on doing what they do, which is coaching. And it's really exciting because though, like, so far I do have somebody in LA and I do have somebody locally here in Ottawa who are enrolled in as Rethinkery coaches. And not only do they get the business back end, but they also get now a community of coaches, consultants, strategists that we can have a conversation about, like, here's where my client's at, or here's where I'm bumping into issues. And we're able to co-create that space together rather than being alone, because that's, it's hard being on your own. And
hmm
so Rethinkery is, yeah, Rethinkery, the whole idea is that we're going to give really amazing coaches the platform to launch and not have a ceiling. Because I really don't like this idea of, I mean, I know of some organizations who pay $40 a session, and these are for high caliber coaches.
yeah.
And it's not their coaching skills that are an issue. It's their fear of selling or whatever that is. Um, and I just know so many amazing coaches who I just think, like, you should know about this person. You should know about this person. And so that's what we're working on.
Gotcha. And so maybe like using the LA associate or the local one as an example, I'm curious like how you're helping them with the networking side and what the support on the client acquisition standpoint looks like, or from the client
Well,
acquisition.
just being part of something larger than yourself gives you that social credibility that
Mhm.
lands. So when people go to our website, they can see we've got chops, we have experience, we come from very diverse backgrounds, and that's what makes us really amazing. We do have some things in common. We're all accredited through the ICF umbrella. So we went to school, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That we're not. doing something other than coaching, we are coaching. Or if you are a strategist, you've gone to school, or if you're a facilitator, that's what you've done. So we have the academic training behind that, um, as well as most of us are pretty direct in our delivery, which is why I think we've worked with so many male-dominated industries, I'll say.
Hmm.
That it's a different language, a different communication style, which lends itself well to more direct industries that typically are led and where men work.
Gotcha, gotcha. Makes sense. So what I'm hearing is the being under the Rethinkery brand is like very helpful, and knowing the communication style, it's something that has resonated in the industries that you've tended to work with more frequently. So this makes sense to me from a people who know about Rethinkery and are coming to Rethinkery looking for great coaching. You're able to kind of set up that connection to a new associate who has the coaching skills, but maybe not necessarily the business skills to go and have attracted that person in the first place. I wonder, is
Mhm.
there anything that you guys or what are you guys? I'm sure there's something doing in terms of providing infrastructure for outreach, whether it's like helping people figure out the networking events to go to, or built-in outreach systems on LinkedIn, email, whatnot. Like, is there like what else is being done from a associate going and finding client standpoint, or is it all just coming to you?
No, we are our website is going through a major overhaul, and we've hired some really cool young guys who are leveraging AI in ways that blows my mind.
Mm.
And the whole idea is that our website will be really just a channel where um, people who are looking for great coaches are going to be able to find the right fit for them. And so associates will on board, they'll enroll into Rethinkery, and clients who are looking for great coaches will be able to find them on our site. And these guys have all sorts of really cool. I mean, I wish I could tell you about them because uh, they sound really impressive, but I don't have the language, and I'm sure I would really embarrass myself because it's whatever they're doing, whatever magic they're doing, is really cool.
Yeah, so it's essentially it's making me think of Lyra, the therapy platform that essentially allows you to go on and say who you are and what you're looking for out of coaching, and just provide information about you and explicitly things that you're looking for, and then kind of work your way into the coach that is right for you based on that. So like a matching system. Um,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
exactly. Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
fantastic. Fantastic. I'm excited to see that roll out and what that looks like. Okay, but so so it sounds to me again just like this is more the like attracting people to come in and then matching people who want to come into Rethinkery. So is that's the main source it seems, rather than the associates going out and doing like an outwards kind of approach.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I do really support getting into your community.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
no better, greater use of your time if you're going to be selling yourself than to be in person connecting with real humans.
Mhm.
AI can do a lot of really great things, but it cannot replace the human experience. And so, yes, we very much encourage our associates and just anyone, get out into the community, do good in your community, serve where you can see you can help, and just I mean that feels good to you, feels good for everybody else, and inevitably you get a reputation for being the person who is helpful and who can solve problems.
Gotcha. Yeah, totally agree that going directly into the community is like the most important thing, especially for such a people-facing industry like coaching. It's not like you're just selling
Yeah.
a product online and searching for customers, right? You need to develop that interpersonal relationship. Okay, that's awesome. I guess kind of on the other side, like we've got a good feel for what's working and the great things that are underway and that you're excited about. Curious which's been a little bit more challenging as you're trying to execute and stand up, this unique associate model, right? You've got a platform that needs a CRM, marketing engine, financial backend, community outreach layer, and all this infrastructure. What's been the hardest from an operational standpoint in getting this set up for you?
Sincerely, time,
Mm.
I mean, because I also work,
Yeah.
like I
No
also
problem.
have, yeah,
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 yeah, yeah. You're not just a
yeah. So
business operator, and yeah,
that's right. I'm not just a business operator. I also have clients, and I have a lot of clients, and so and they are my priority. And so launching Rethinkery has taken a lot longer than I anticipated. Also, like finding the right fit, because I did a lot of research to find a business model that worked for me.
hmm,
Um, and also not just for me, but for the clients. Like I really want this to be a mutually beneficial experience.
yeah,
So that took a bit of time to sort through, and also the legal stuff, the financial. Like there was a lot of stuff that I needed to work through my and wrap my head around.
yeah.
And now, yeah, it's just a matter of I've found some amazing people who can help me, and so we've delegated those tasks. Most of it was really just getting clear on specifically what I wanted, because once I understood specifically what I wanted and the structure I was willing to run with, then it was just a matter of finding the right people to help me. And so we are building. We are all systems go.
Got it, got it. So the approach was very much so. Tina Collins is going to continue focusing on her high priority clients and delivering and building upon the existing strong brand that you already have been creating over the last 2 decades. What is the business model that we want to create here? That's what was taking the most of your time to solidify. But once you really, put pen to paper, figure out the model, it was about finding talent. And now at this point, you've got talent in place to flesh out each of those things, it sounds like. So it's not the building the infrastructure aspect is less so on your plate. You just had to set up and well articulate what the infrastructure you wanted built was.
Yeah, yeah, and I'll be honest. There are times where I thought I knew what I wanted, and they would build it, and I would think, "Ugh, that wasn't it." But that's also an important lesson. That's an important lesson uh, to go through for me. I mean, this is my clients go through this also. Sometimes they think, "Oh, this is the thing that I want," and we get there, and they're like, "Oh, this is not what I wanted at all," and then they feel really disappointed in themselves. That's all part of psychology. It's contrast. Sometimes you have to do the thing and realize, oh, this is not quite right. And it just allows you to tweak and get clear on the ask.
Mm,
And so I would say that has been part of the challenge, is like just understanding, and also like what is available. I mean, AI has sort of blown the roof on what is possible in terms of technology. And I'm very HI, I'm human intelligence. And so when I meet with these young guys and they offer me like suggestions, I often am thrown back like, I don't even, what are you saying? Like what's even like I don't even understand. I mean, last meeting we had, I'm sure he was saying English words. I just didn't understand any of them. So so I mean there
yeah,
is a learning step,
learning curve
and
for you.
and
Yeah,
also and fortunately I trust them, and so they can say, well, let's just build it, and then you can test it and see. And so it's I mean I'm learning. This old dog is learning new tricks, Ethan. It's
congratulations.
pretty
Good
good.
for you.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah.
did. I think that you will get the treat from the investment that you're putting into learning these new tricks, for lack of better
Yeah,
words. No,
definitely.
that's so exciting. And I guess it brings me back to a thing that we talked about last week, which is you had said that you'd been running your business just by yourself for like 16 years, and then you had to undergo the process of, and I didn't even think about this during our call last week, but clearly trusting a good handful of people to go and build out multiple systems that are going to be the infrastructure for your baby and for your dream business that you're building here. What was the process like for going and vetting these people and um, you know having that sense of like trust and getting to the point where you're able to be on this call now saying I have so much like trust and confidence in what they're doing. Yeah, I'm curious about how that dynamic was formed.
I wish I could tell you that it was smooth and really thoughtful and that like well executed. I wish I could tell you all those things, but it's actually a really frustrating story, is that I have spent tens of thousands of dollars
Mm,
um, with no return.
Mm.
And so,
As in
but
those
each
earlier that you
iteration,
sub out.
yeah, like I would hire someone who sounded amazing, and my lack of knowledge in technology sort of, um, I would have to trust with that. People said that they were going to do what they were going to do,
Mm.
and then I would get either little or no deliverable, or the system that they promised they would build did not work, or there was just absolutely no value. Like there was a complete misalignment. And so,
Wow.
yeah,
Sorry
I
to
mean,
hear
that's the
that.
tough part is that I joke about this all the time. There are more coaches for coaches than there are actual coaches.
Hmm.
And so, there's a lot of people doing harm in my industry, which is also part of the reason why I want to build something that's really meaningful,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's ethical, that's based in really strong values for common good.
Yeah.
I know it sounds really like touchy-feely and wonderful, but my God, do we need it?
What's wrong with touchy feely and wonderful? I think if I felt that
Well,
everything in the business world was like that, I would love all every bit of it a whole lot more, I think. But certainly,
so would I. So would I. But there are unfortunately a lot more people who are um, in it for money.
yeah.
And I'm not naive. Like, I know the mortgage won't get paid with hugs. I've tried, but so I'm not naive. I know money is what makes the world go round, but I also think that there's some good that can happen.
Yeah.
And I'm hopeful that we are part of that story.
Yeah, no, something that you said there really hit home to me, which is like the disconnect between money and value. And ideally, you make positive forms of value associated with money. And there's like a
Yeah,
one-to-one tracking there, right? The value that you're able to deliver to somebody is, let's call it 1.2, and I receive zero point 0.8 of it. There's like a value creation of like zero point 0.4 that they got, and I get paid zero point 0.8, right? Like it everybody wins kind of situation. But yeah, it's
exactly.
sad to hear that. And when you said that there's more coaches trying to teach coaches, what you're saying is like there's more people that are trying to be involved in the coaching industry and business and trying to help from a business standpoint than there are coaches themselves, right?
Correct.
Got
Correct. It's
got
sort of like this weird, and this is where it gets a little bumpy for me because they're not actually coaching. They're consulting.
yeah, of
They're
course.
saying, "Here, Tina, here's the framework. Like all you have to do is follow my 7-step process and you too will get clients."
Hmm.
That is not how it works,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, I
there's a
think
lot
it
of people making a lot of money uh, on these promises. And what it boils down to is that every individual is very unique. And so you can't possibly take a unique individual, copy paste someone else's system and make it work the same. It just doesn't work.
agreed, agreed. And then so I guess I'm curious what the learning process was like. You know, you worked with people where they're trying to coach you as a coach and help you with your business model and creating the infrastructure you wanted to make. And in many cases, it was just burning cash, unfortunately. And I'm sorry to hear that. I guess what was the difference between those people and the people that are now executing that you feel confident in? In addition to the trial and error, and that sometimes things just go south or there's a disconnect. What were you able to characterize about the people that are doing great work now, and how can maybe somebody like me, honestly, like emulate that and make sure that I'm incorporating that into my practice as somebody that's trying to support coaching and training businesses.
These guys super over deliver. I mean, what they promised was unbelievable to me because I didn't even know one could do it. And then what they've delivered is I mean, I just cannot wait to show the world this thing that they've created for me.
I'm
Or
excited.
for Rethinkery. It is unbelievable. And and I'm now that they're in the process of showing me what it can do, it has opened this possibility of like, well, could it do this? And they're like, yeah. And then, they'll go back 2, 3 days later, they'll show me like, here's a test. And it just blows my mind and gets me super excited. So what I would say is that They have shown me, they have over delivered.
That's fantastic. I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear. I definitely seek to over deliver as well, and I'm glad to hear that other people out there are as much of perfectionists and desire to over deliver will be over delivering people as I am. So that's great to hear, and I'm glad that that's working out. I recognize that we're at time, so just one last question for our listeners out there who might be interested in learning more about your service or industry peers that are looking to collaborate. Where can they go to find more about you, Rethinkery, and Tina Collins coaching?
So we're in Canada, so you can find us at rethinkery.ca. And I am on LinkedIn. That's where I'm usually social, and that's Tina Collins. And you can also find Rethinkery on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. I look forward to
Thank you
seeing
so much,
what they've
Ethan.
built. Yeah, it's been great having you here. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you again, Tina, for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks.
If today's conversation resonated with you and you're looking to learn how business leaders are driving value using AI, make sure to hit subscribe. Feel free to check out our other episodes. And I've also left my LinkedIn in the description below, so you're welcome to connect, and I will see you next time.